Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is the Piracy Show. Now, I've been doing a lot of pirate missions, and this mission here, pick up, where the description says super legit. If that's not something that makes you a little bit paranoid right in the beginning, it should be. And I found something on this mission that kind of left me at a point where I was debating with myself, do I think that this is fair? Because the mission is a catfish. I mean, it's a lure. Something's going to happen in the mission, and you're not going to see it coming. And at first I was like, oh, that's a good idea to have missions in that like that to reinforce the idea that Star Citizen isn't a quote unquote fair game. It's an open world PvP game. You should be a little bit paranoid. You should always, have your head on a swivel, so to speak. But the more I thought about it, and the more I I tried to argue the other point, well, I think the mission isn't fair because it shouldn't do this to you. It should do that, and it should be this way. And so I kind of found myself in a bit of a bizarre argument. And so I kind of want to put this out to you and ask you guys what you think of the mission. So the mission is straightforward. It is one of the criminal missions. You go to Daymar, pick up a package, deliver it to another location. Straightforward. We've seen it all before. Now, on final approach to the mission site, and I'm about 4 kilometers away, I think, at this point. I'm not that far away from the mission site, and I'm not seeing anything on sensors. Now, realistically, for what is about to happen, I should be able to see another ship. I should be able to see a Drake Cutlass somewhere on sensors. Maybe he's sitting there all powered down. Maybe he's got everything off and so I can't see him. Possibly. I mean, that is a possibility. We don't really know how all these things are going to work out. But I mean, I'm still looking around visibly, and I'm not seeing anything. So I think that even if he was kind of powered down, perhaps I should have be able to see this ship, at least parked nearby. And I'm not really seeing anything. So this is kind of where I kind of get to that point where I'm debating, is this mission fair or not? And when I say fair, I mean not fair as in like, oh, the universe should be nice and it should be all, rainbows and unicorns everywhere and everyone should be friends. Not that kind of fair, but I think fair in that if you're careful enough and if you're looking around and you're being observant and you're being at least somewhat, in the moment and intelligent about how you go about things, then something should be more apparent. And once again, I'm not seeing any other ship on approach. Even when I landed, there was no other ships on sensors. There was nothing else nearby. So I go in and I pick up the package. Now the package is just up on the shelf here. I grab it, pick it up. Okay, pick up cargo. Objective complete. Next objective, deliver the cargo. All right. No problem, straightforward. I haven't seen anyone on sensors. As far as I know, there's no one else out here. But we do know that within Star Citizen, once you trigger an event, NPCs will spawn. Like they will all of a sudden appear. Like we've seen this in 263, and this still remains in this version of the game. And that's kind of where I want to put this question out to you. Does NPCs just suddenly appearing, spawning in the universe, does that make any real sense? Should they not be, at least even if they're powered down, should they be not visible? Because as soon as I put this package down on my ship, all of a sudden I'm under attack. I'm being shot. So for this ship to have made this approach, get right up on me and start shooting me, I mean, it wouldn't have been that fast, right? Now, of course, it's good to have missions like this. It's good to have missions where there's all of a sudden a surprise attack, but I mean, even if this had been another player, I would have seen this player going in. I mean, if you've done any of these missions, you know, you can see other ships from up to 10 kilometers away. And right here, there was simply no warning. I was getting shot while I was still parked on the ground. So I'm kind of thinking whether it was when I picked up the package or whether it was when I placed the package on my ship, this NPC just spawned and then just opened fire on me with no warning. On the one hand, I think it's important to have these types of things in game, but at the same time, I mean, for the sake of realism, even if the ship was kind of parked somewhere nearby, close enough that it could have made that approach as soon as I picked up the package, I still would have had a lot more lead time before that had happened, and I might have seen him coming. So I kind of feel like, I don't know, 50-50. Should NPCs just be spawning in once you trigger an event, or should they be there already waiting for you? Like GTA 5 has this thing where you're going and you're doing a mission to go pick up a certain object and return it to a certain place. But when you're going to pick it up, you can see kind of cop cars parked nearby, a few cop cars to a few patrols or patrolmen walking around near that site. And so you're all of a sudden you're going like, wait, I think this is a sting operation. I think if I grab this car, all of a sudden I'm going to start seeing, you know, the blue and the red lights flashing all over the place. And sure enough, so there is that kind of, that almost level of realism, that level of pre-warning where if you're observant, you can pick up on something happening before it happens. Whereas here, you don't get that warning. And so that's kind of where I find myself debating, should I have been able to spot that ship on the way in, if not on sensors, at least visually? Or at least, not to say maybe he was hiding in a cannon back there. Had I been more careful, might I have spotted him? So I don't know. You know, I find myself debating that. Now, I can understand and I can fully accept, you know, like let's say, oh, here's a mission, go to this site and pick up this object. And maybe you want to go and you want to do like a full kind of surveillance sweep around the site before you go and land and pick up the object. And if you do something like that, maybe you spot the ship that's laying in wait to ambush you nearby. I think would be better than just having the NPCs spawn on top of you. But having them spawn on top of you does kind of give you that paranoia that you might not get otherwise. So here you see me again doing another approach to a mission site, but now I'm looking all over the place. This is literally the next mission I did. And I'm looking and I'm going like, I don't see anything. I don't see anything hiding. But this mission, it could be another double cross as well. I don't know. And so I guess in the end, like, that's kind of the question that I want to put forward. The question that I want to ask you is, do you think that in a situation like that, do you think that you should be able to spot the enemies lying in wait, or do you think that they should just spring up on you by being spawned in? Because, I don't know, I kind of lean towards the fact that they should already be at the site lying in wait. I mean, for the realism factor, I think that you should be able to, if you're careful, and you do like a full circle of the site and you're kind of using your sensors and you're checking things out, I think that you should, or at least just using the Mark 1 eyeball, you should at least be able to know ahead of time if there's a double cross, or at least have a reasonable chance to pick up on that double cross ahead of time, if you're being really careful and of course surveying the area before you land. So I guess the question that I want to ask you, to boil everything down, the question that I want to ask you, and hopefully have answered in the comments below, or at least have your opinion, is In a mission like this, or in any of these missions where a double cross is possible, where all of a sudden NPCs can just spring up on you, do you think that it does a disservice to the game to just have them spawn in? Or should they already be physically in that space, even if you can't, see them on sensors? If you're being careful and you're looking around and you're scoping things out with the old Mark I eyeball, should the possibility exist that you should be able to spot them even just visually? I mean, for the sake of immersion and for the sake of realism, should they be required to occupy that physical space prior to you triggering something in a mission which causes them to spawn and then suddenly appear on top of you? That's kind of where I find myself debating this, because having them spawn right on top of you, it kind of drives up the energy factor. But I like more the idea of them occupying the physical space beforehand, and you possibly now having not so much advanced warning, but if you're willing to take the time and you're willing to be careful about it, you might be able to solve that problem before it occurs, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to leave that question with you to answer in the comments below, or at least give me your opinion. What do you think? Should the NPCs occupy the physical space, or should they be spawned whenever a trigger is hit in a mission, whether it's picking up a package or placing it on your ship? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks for watching.